ready to go. Going live. We are going live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live
now.
Looks like we are live, and we are. Excellent. We've got 10 viewers in the room. Welcome to...
That's 10 more than I thought we'd have.
Yeah. Welcome to our first episode of Good Morning Madness. Here with me in our virtual studio, we have Justin Reynolds coming in hot from Texas.
I don't know how to turn into a gangster all of a sudden.
Yeah. And Jonathan Palmar coming in hot from Miami. So thank you all very much for hopping in here. We're going to be a couple seconds behind on the chat, but we are keeping an eye on everybody. So thank you for hopping in here today. We got an awesome topic. Glad to see you in here, Will, Matt, Harrison, everybody else that we're not able to see yet. Go ahead and drop something in the chat so we know you're in the mix. But what we've got for you today is we would love to explore some really hot topics, both directions. We've got some LinkedIn masters here to throw their input into the equation, and then we'd love to hear from you guys as well throughout the show. So one of the first things that we want to do is just set the context of all this. We're totally doing this on the fly, but that's been kind of the theme of all this, and it's worked really well so far. So thank you to everybody that's been on the flight while we're building this, while we're flying. Very much appreciate your support. But as we get this going, we wanted to just give you the context of why this is on YouTube instead of LinkedIn. We've got a bunch of LinkedIn homies here, and what we really had to do, because none of us will give us LinkedIn Live, is we had to switch this over to YouTube. So our public service announcement before getting any of this started is we need to figure out a way to get us on LinkedIn Live instead of YouTube, but we'll figure out a way to get that rolling ASAP. So we'll keep you in the mix for how we're going to get that going. But for right now, let's go ahead and bring up our first subject. And today we're going to be talking about abuse. There's some awful abuse going on out in the world right now. And that abuse is algorithm abuse. Jonathan, I know you have seen a ton of this algorithm abuse. Please enlighten us. What is going on with this madness?
It's I find it incredible the type of advice that some of these influencers will give to just everybody. I almost feel like they have to be getting a check from these platforms to tell people, hey, you should be producing 30, 40, 50 pieces of content a day just in perpetuity. But what they need to recognize is the fact that, for most people that is incredibly stressful. When I do strategy calls on behalf of Shay's company, one of the hardest parts for people is this idea that it's something they have to marry themselves to, that their entire lives have to be documented, that they constantly have to be creating content. And that could be exhausting before anybody even starts. People don't go into the gym thinking that they're going to be Mr. Olympia or that they're going to be on the cover of a magazine. They aspire to be a little bit better than they are. Maybe they have an ideal physique, but they don't go in with the mindset that, they have to be the best. Where when it comes to content creation, I think everybody has the expectation that they want to be great at it. And that paralyzes a lot of people because it seems like it's so far out of reach. You make a post, you get 5 likes. For most people, that's okay. But then when you see somebody get 1,000, you're like, okay, well, I must have to develop so much content that I get there faster. But the thing that you mentioned is that the algorithm, it actually kind of works against you if you're on the platform too much, if you're posting too much. So I found that what's most effective for me is posting twice a week. And that goes very against, the Gary V's and what they preach. But I'm here to tell you it works too.
No, there's definitely a spectrum to explore here as far as frequency of content of posting. And what honestly pisses me off even more is the content of algorithm abuse. So you know exactly what we're talking about. The 3 steps to grow your network. Get the
Justin, what are your
out
thoughts
of here with that?
What are your thoughts on the connection posts?
Oh, okay. For all the people out there, because this goes into the comparison game, because we've all fallen into the comparison game. And you see those likes and you see these people, I got in 7 months, I got 30,000 followers. Look at me. And never have posted a video one time. You're full of crap. And, I don't care. Y'all, hey, my DM, y'all can find me on LinkedIn. Blow me up. I don't care. You're full of crap. You're liars, and you're making everybody think that that's real. It's not. It's fake. You're buying your followers. 90% of your followers can't even understand English. So I'm sorry. It's just bullcrap. So those posts, do they work in some cases? Yes. Jonathan, you did a video about the abundance mindset last week. And yes, you will get more connections and someone might see it. But I feel like you guys are friends. Did I know you 60 days ago? No. Not at all. Why? Because it was actually true engagement. It was true follow-up. It was true talking. And those people, you might have a mark as a connection. Never going to respond to anything. They get their dopamine hit from saying, oh, look, 26,000. Those are the same people that put 26,000 followers in their headline. Those are the same. Is it true? I don't see any of us doing it. Should we put our bank accounts on the back of our car like $6,922,000? Thank you. We don't do that. So why do we do it with connections? It's just bullcrap. It's false dopamine for them to feel good on how they get up throughout the day.
And this is my concern with that from a business standpoint, right? When you see somebody with a lot of followers, it alludes to the fact that the person has a lot of authority, because if all these people are following, then it must be because they've done something to get people to follow them. But when you artificially inflate it, whether by buying your followers or through these connection posts, you're giving the illusion that you're actually an authority as a marketer or, as a salesperson, whatever industry you might be. When the reality is that you are a part of a community of people that are all mass adding each other, but that doesn't mean that you have authority. So it's actually incredibly misleading. It takes a lot of the truth away from it. And I would hate to see people fall into this trap of, oh, well, this guy has 50,000 followers. He must be a fantastic marketer. No, he used like a growth hack, and that's why he has the presence that he does.
Messages are coming in.
I think that what you just mentioned is, I think, a really critical point. The growth hackers that are doing this, because there is a positive side. I will argue to the other side of the coin. There is something there to have good, valid social proof. Going to somebody's profile in any platform, doesn't have to be LinkedIn, and understanding that they have a bigger following does increase that social proof. But the big piece to me, at least coming at it from marketing and branding angle, is you are a brand. Your existence, whether you've done the personal branding thing or not, every experience you're doing online is building that personal brand. So if you're one of those cheesy, just think about it the next time you cringe and you're scrolling past one of those posts. Do you really want to be one of those people that you now have 10, 20, 30, 40 of those moments attached to your brand? So I think that's really the negative side of it, is when you go way too far the other way and just want the likes and everything, and that's where you go. It ends up being a detriment to what you're shooting for in the long term. Absolutely. So I think,
something you mentioned is personal brand. Personal brand, I've heard this in the past. Personal brand is just another way of saying reputation, right? Your personal brand is your reputation. So if your reputation is having these growth hacks, imagine what it would be like in a business context. Okay, this person takes shortcuts to grow. They're probably going to take some shortcuts when they're doing business with me as well. So the more you align yourself with that, and the more you that is a part of who you are, people are going to say to themselves, okay, well, I can anticipate that this person might be a little bit dishonest in this business relationship as well. So I just avoid it.
Well, in sales, we see it all the time. The guy that makes 9,000 calls, supposedly in his little call-a-thon, when it's not even really a possibility, but they dial and hang up, dial, hang up, dial and hang up. But the stat sheets on our CRM systems log in and say, oh, look, prospect A or employee X made 9,000 calls. You only made 6. What happened? What's going on? Well, would we look at the length of time each call lasts? And I feel like that's sort of the real world way of doing this, just adding connections merely just to show busy work. Like, hey, look at everything I've done. Look, I obviously know what I'm doing. And bosses fall into that trap. They just look at, the boss, the CEO just sees the reports. Well, why is this guy outperforming everybody? And they say, oh, it's because he makes that many calls.
What does your LinkedIn feed look like after you've added all this garbage?
You don't know anybody.
That's where that's huge. I think to wrap up the algorithm element. So to all the listeners in here, do not abuse the algorithm. It might be good for a couple weeks, but it's not going to be anything helpful in the long term. All you're going to do is pool yourself into some really sketchy networks. And the further LinkedIn goes to an algorithm-based model, the harder it's going to be to dig yourself out of there. So stick with people that are like-minded, producing good content, and highly engaged, and you will not regret it. So one of the things that we mentioned, we'll go ahead and segment into our next section here, which was something you briefly alluded to earlier, Jonathan, was kind of this Gary V hustle culture. You got to be in there posting fucking 64 pieces of content a day, I think was his most recent dilemma of like, here you go, like, which I appreciate. I used it. I can barely pump out one piece of content a day. But this is what we're going to hop into. So that's what I think we're going to hop into, is understanding this whole 24/7 hustle. Is this necessary? Is this dangerous? There's obviously benefits to it, but there's obviously detriment to it, where people, if you feel like you have to be posting multiple times a day to even be keeping up, you're probably going to feel like crap. I feel like it's probably the business version of Instagrammers, like these teenage girls having to look up to all these booty pics and whatever, and like that's their moral comparison. Like, and us as solopreneurs or running small teams, we see somebody like Gary V with God knows how many people on his team, videographers following him around every room. It's just absurd. It seems unrealistic. Where are you guys at on this spectrum? Because I know we're all trying to hustle. We're all trying to make this work. But where do we draw that line?
I got to draw it on, like, I appreciate Gary V and what he does, his background, his story of his mom weaving the Nets jersey or the Jets jersey because, knitting it because they didn't have the money. That's awesome. And that's an amazing story. And I think he has an amazing idea behind him, but nothing he says is realistic with the people that are in our situations. We don't have a media team. He doesn't even respond to his comments. Like, there's no way he has time. He responds to nothing. He oversees it. People say, hey, this is what we're posting today. Do you mind? He gives his check off, and that's all he does. Like, it's unrealistic. If you were to look at him before he sold even his wine company, now this is 2003, you would have seen a different side of Gary V. There wouldn't have been this whole hustle, because I know I've filmed at like 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning before, and then tried to edit it the next morning, and I'm dead. Like, it literally shoots my whole day apart. And with having kids and having a life, and most of us having other jobs besides being on film or on tape or on LinkedIn, it's really hard. Like, so I think Jonathan nailed it earlier. Like, and I've been one of those. My first 60 days, I posted every single day on LinkedIn. And that was merely a goal I set just to say, hey, I can do that. I'm a system guy. When I diet, I know how I measure my food. When I work out, I measure my workout. I have everything in measures. And so same thing with content. I said, I want to do this for 60 days nonstop. But since then, I listened to Jonathan, and now I'm going to go to 2 days a week. And mentally, I felt great this week. Like, I don't feel obligated to do something.
Yeah. But I do.
How do I create content with 7 kids is the question that we just got. I shut them in a closet. I lock it. And then I just hope they're not yelling. No, I take my camera with me everywhere. Which camera? I mean, my phone, you don't have to use anything spectacular. I have a backpack with a tripod in it, with a ring light in it, and I always have my phone on me. So just in case I do feel the vibe or I feel the flow to do something right then and there, I can do it. If not, I take the notes down and I just knock it out when I get home. My filming is not the long part. But the filming, editing is what takes me so long. Filming, I usually can knock out pretty quickly. I'm not a perfectionist. I want things to be good, but I realize authenticity and realness has to come across. So I don't try to make it 100% perfect when I film because that's just not realistic.
And the way that I approach it is I try to create event content. So, you have like episodic television, and then you have the experience of going to see a movie. There's a lot more buildup, there's a lot more anticipation, and likewise, there's also a lot more emotion when you go see a movie. Now, a movie, you're not going to see, sit on your couch and watch every Wednesday the next part of the movie. A movie is an event type situation, but it captivates you more. It takes more production time. Typically because it's all in one. So the way that I format my content is very much like that. I make it an event. So, and it's to the point where people will be in my inbox asking, John, it's 5 minutes past time that you typically post. Where's your post at? And that only happens when you build up that event content where people are demanding it because there's a scarcity of it, right? At a time when there was plenty of toilet paper, nobody really thought anything of it. But when there's a scarcity of it, then people freak out and feel like they have to buy a ton of it, right? So if your content is a scarcity and then you take the whole week and really focus your attention on making it as impactful as possible, now that you have the extra time, you find that getting those raving fans, getting those people to really subscribe to what you're talking about is much easier.
Right. Now, and JP, I'm glad you said that because I'm now taking that mindset. My whole thing of always taking it with me is sort of shifting because I don't have to do it mentally every day. So I don't have to be in my car and like, oh man, look at that guy riding his bike. That gave me some motivation. And now I get to do more of a scripted content piece, Justin Exotic, for example, or when that hater sent me the email and I did the clown. I can focus more on real life things and do a better production of it instead of just being in my car and say, guys, I just got to the gym. Holy crap. It's amazing. Boosh. I don't have to do any of that. So because I don't feel obligated now. So it's a little less rehearsed, or it's a little more rehearsed instead of just putting something on there just to put something on there. I really want that. What Jonathan's getting, those messages like, hey, what's going on here? You usually post at 10 o'clock and, I like that too because you do want people. I tell my wife, even though I'm a guy, I want to feel wanted. It feels good to have her attraction towards me. Same thing with this. When people are asked, it feels good. Like instead of having dopamine hits from the 30,000 connections, but when people are truly interested in what I have to say, that makes me feel really good, and I really appreciate it.
100%. No, I think you guys really brought up some critical points about finding that sweet spot. I think all of us have very different situations. Like obviously your situation is going to be very different day to day than somebody else's. So would love to hear if anybody in the chat has a strong opinion on the hustle culture. Is it necessary? Is it over glorified? That's a lot of what I'm seeing lately is this unhealthy lifestyle of that 24/7 thing really isn't as beneficial as a lot of people are thinking right out. Feel free to drop your perspective in there. But it looks like the takeaway for this section here is find something that fits for your lifestyle, your content style. I haven't hopped into like the daily energy videos like these guys yet, but I'm able to do
well, we know how
and graphic design stuff.
Yeah. We know how he gets his energy. We've seen it.
So maybe I'll pick up some resources from Jonathan, get a video strategy going, and we'll get it rolling. But in some keep it healthy, you guys. Like this 24/7 thing, like I respect the hustle so much, but at a certain point it starts working against you. So just keep that in check, keep it in mind, and we'll take it from there. But this last section we're going to talk about today is the opposite of anything and everything we've been hearing in the news. So plenty of COVID, crisis, end of the world, apocalyptic. But what I would love to explore today with both of you guys and everybody here in the chat is the positive side of COVID. Stumbled into a lot of benefits here these last couple weeks, trying to be as mindful as possible of all of them. And really would be curious to hear from your guys' perspective if anything you've seen over the last couple of weeks, whether it was a specific individual or a specific brand, a company, event, any positive benefits that you've seen. I would love to hear from you guys, both of you here with us and everybody in the chat as well. We'd love to really get something going. I think this has been one of the most positive sides I've seen as far as digital community building in my lifetime. I've done it through MySpace, I've done it through Insta, I've done it through Tumblr, and this is like the craziest digital community like connection I've ever seen. And would love to just see if that's my own little world, or if that's applicable to everybody. I think there's a lot of positive things happening, and I want to hear about them.
What I think is incredible is, despite the fact that we're all isolated in our homes, like you still feel very connected to a lot of people. And yes, I think it's great because you could just, close your computer and all the noise disappears. It's up to you. And that's really nice, because when you're in a typical work environment, you don't have that kind of flexibility, or when you're out on the street, it's very difficult. Also, I find that a lot of the isolation is great for your creativity. Sometimes you need to just quiet your mind so that you can just listen to that internal voice to inspire you to have those ideas. There's so much talking and noise all the time. It's very difficult to focus effective ideas. And I've felt like over the past month, like my creativity, like the juices are just flowing. Not only do I have more time, but I have that silence that breathes those ideas. And I think that that's super, super important.
No, I agree 100%, Jonathan. First of all, since it's COVID-19, a lot of my friends own companies, and I hear their advertising plans and their strategies. If y'all stopped advertising because this situation was going on and you don't think it has, you're stupid and you're an idiot. And I say this with 100% being nice and not being mean. Like, what do you have in your hand 24 hours a day right now? Your phone. So if you stopped advertising, you need to fire all of your marketing people or whoever makes those decisions right away, because it's insanity. But staying on the topic here, I mean, it's helped. I would have never connected with y'all if it wasn't for this. I never would have connected with a lot of people, because take the time out of my schedule for Zoom. I don't want to see anybody. Like, I don't want to have to do anything like that. And so I wouldn't have taken the opportunity to get to know guys like yourselves. It's amazing how the workplace has 90% of excused absences or asking for an absence in work was frowned upon. No, we can't make that happen. We can't make that happen. No, we need you here in the office every day to respond to that email, to be on that meeting. But the whole world shut down, and it shifted to being remote work within 2 weeks. Major corporations shifted to being remote. Now, do I like being in an office sometimes? Yes, I need to get away and experience the other. It's like going to a gym compared to working out at home. I need the energy of other people to sort of get me where I need to be. So work helps that. But I think this time has created a truly perfect time for us to go, wow, we really don't need to be in the office 5 days a week. 1 day, maybe 2 days. So I think this has created that when you talk about positive, it's going to shift a lot of companies' culture. I mean, just think about all these companies that would save billions of dollars by not having office space. I mean, it's huge. It's amazing things that's came out of this.
No, I think I've seen a lot of that here, at least from my end. I've been preaching remote work, virtual teams, and adaptability for a couple years now. Suddenly, the exact same phrases are 10 times more valuable and relevant. So lots of stuff that didn't quite apply a couple months ago is suddenly the top of everybody's list. Stuff like Zoom meetings, virtual work, virtual teams. So a few people that hopped in here with their benefits of this COVID situation. Harrison was able to find time for personal growth. I think that's been a huge element for a lot of us. We've been in this 24/7 rat race, the hustle we've been talking about for so long. I think a lot of us are realizing how much of our day-to-day time might have been getting away for like very unnecessary or redundant stuff. So that was awesome to hear, Harrison. Completely agree. I've noticed the time for personal growth. Jeremiah has got some freestyle Fridays going on. If you haven't checked out his LinkedIn content, super awesome character to have in the mix. Glad you're in here, man. So yeah, people are having all kinds of experimental new content styles. This is another benefit. So what we're seeing is this adaptability and evolution is actually really strengthening and reinforcing a lot of communities, a lot of people, a lot of business plans. And that's literally where we came from. The people in this room started from all of this COVID situation. I can 100% say with certainty, without this situation, we wouldn't be here in this YouTube channel. It was such an adventure, such a journey. Will continue evolving, but this was supposed to be an in-person event like months and months ago that Victor and I were trying to set up, and then we were bringing Denver community, then we brought it online and started doing Zoom stuff, and now we're turning this into a media production like powerhouse. So anybody that's been curious kind of what's going on with this channel, this Beast Node channel, what we're essentially doing is building a home for business, entertainment, art, and sports talent. So high performance humans that are just need some type of avenue for content creation, that's the home that we're trying to build. So if anybody here in the chat with us is has their eye on some type of content creation and wants to get it going, feel free to connect with us. We'll figure out collabs, we'll figure out technology, we'll figure out all that stuff. That's definitely what we're here for. But I just wanted to give a sincere thank you to both Jonathan, Justin, Victor running the show behind the scenes, to everybody that doesn't see him. Victor's been super helpful for all of this. And to everybody in the chat, I see so many recurring faces in here and names. So awesome to see that we're building this. So before we run out of time, I just wanted to give the sincere thank you to all of you guys. We've really turned like a silver lining out of this whole situation. So dropping that thank you. We still got an open-ended. We didn't really officially set an end time, but we're right at the 30-minute mark and we hit our few bullet points we're supposed to hit. So our job is technically done here, but we'll go ahead and leave the room open. Would love to hear any questions you guys have on the previous topics. We were talking about algorithm abuse, the 24/7 hustle, and positive side of COVID. So we'll go ahead and leave the room open. Any chats that you guys have, anything you want to chat about, drop it in there, and we'll just see when we run out of steam here and hop off.
Real quick though, real quick. Can I talk about the Monday morning moron?
Please do. Let's
Okay,
make it a thing. Let's make it a thing.
I was at the wonderful world of Walmart yesterday. And I saw people practicing social distancing. Good, right? Saw this one guy, full mask on. He was rocking it. Him and his partner were rocking the mask. But then, after filling with everything, he did this. Pulled his mask down and needed to wipe his face down.
Solved one problem.
What's the point? That's the first moron. Moron number 2, walking outside. The guy removed his mask to smoke cigarettes. Like, what do you care about? I don't. Sorry, that's my Monday morning moron minutes.
No, I'm sure we'll have plenty of those loaded up in the future. Feel free to share your Monday morning morons with us throughout the week, guys.
Hey, and if y'all want content, guys, just hang out at Walmart. Just hang out at Walmart. You'll get plenty of content. plenty of content.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, anything that you guys wanted to hop in here and add as far as the hustle, the algorithm abuse? I know we've got a pretty solid show under our belt already, but just wanted to open it up once more if there was anything that slipped through the cracks.
Speaking of the funnies, something I wanted to bring up because it's actually something that I'm like a little bit of a crisis I'm having with myself is we have to be careful not to become parodies of ourselves, because you can fall into the trap of, if you develop too much funny content, then you become a piece of entertainment. And this isn't Instagram. This isn't YouTube. Well, this is technically YouTube, but this is YouTube, because LinkedIn refuses to give us LinkedIn Live, which I almost don't blame them, because if you've been keeping up with our funny content, we've been kind of like pushing the barrier a little bit. So probably smart of them. But LinkedIn, we need live. Thanks. Anyways, so one thing I do want to discuss is the fact that you don't want to become a parody of yourself. If you do too much comical content, people aren't going to take you seriously. They're going to see you as a form of entertainment, and that doesn't generate business. So I myself am starting to reevaluate how I do it and how often I do it, because you don't want to become just that.
No, that's true in the casting and like entertainment. They call it like the Kelso problem, because they, in that 70s show, they essentially backed Kelso into a corner that the only thing he did was just such stupid, illogical stuff that was all anybody expected from him, and he lost all of his dynamics. The only time he was on screen was to send him in to just say something so stupid. By the end of the season, it wasn't even funny anymore because it was so far beyond, it was so oversold. So really big point, I think.
I still think it worked out for him, though. It worked out pretty well for him. Like, he's doing pretty well. Like,
well, not for the actor. The character in the show was backed into that corner. And looks like Lee mentioned in that theme that we were kind of alluding to earlier, this collaboration theme. Lee is curious what inspired you two crazy kittens to work together and put together some of these collab videos. What was the origin story of that whole adventure?
Go ahead, JP.
All right, I'm trying to get out of. I'm going to call. I was looking at the chat. Just give me a quick second.
Oh, no worries.
Well, I'll go into why you looking at that. I saw a guy that was super talented. We go in this comparison game, and I saw some of his content was funny. I saw his affiliation with JRey, and JRey's sort of the reason I even thought about putting funny stuff on LinkedIn. And, him and I just started chatting back and forth, and we're a lot alike, but we're a lot of different too. But we still have a very similar deliverance style. And I think it just meshed very well, because he's sort of a yin and I'm a yang. I mean, I'm sort of nonstop energy all the time, as y'all know already. But you have to find someone that completes what you're not. And that's what he is. And so I think it's just I don't want to say marriage. That's weird. But no, I'm married.
It's
very happily married. But hold on. No, but you know what I mean. So it just created a good symbiotic relationship between the two of us. And it's just hit off very well so far. And I like the way his mind thinks. I like that it's outside the box. So at the same time, it's like a kite. It can go high, but it still has a string to pull it back in a little bit.
For me, it was jealousy. Like I'm ferociously competitive. And when I saw that he had connections that I did not have, I was like, those are people I want to attract. And if they like his content, they're probably going to like my content too. But instead of doing something nefarious or evil, I was like, let me work with the guy. Let me reach out to him. Let me see what he says, what he thinks, and work together, as opposed to, being enemies. And it's been very interesting because, again, he brings something to the table that I don't. And it's a slightly different angle. And I found that it's worked really well. And when I post a video with Justin, I get a ton of and that's the kind of stuff that you want. Obviously there's a selfish element to it, but being able to uplift each other is a huge part of it. And this program as well, because Victor, Travis, they have different audience. We all have a different audience. We all have a different style, and the fact that we can all complement each other is big. It's important.
No, and Jonathan, I mean, and Travis, Victor, I know you're in the back, but we literally have talked about this individually when y'all aren't on the call about how much y'all help us, because y'all do add a facet and y'all add a dynamic that we don't possess. So I really do appreciate you. I appreciate Victor, because y'all really do help us. Yes, we can be like you always say, well, I don't want to put all the content in front of the video. I can do that all day long. I don't care, but being behind the scenes and doing the editing and doing the stuff with the sound, it's like with me writing, I'm like, yes, I can say I'm a great talker. This is going to come out perfect. And I sit down and all it comes out is I like lamp. Yeah. And that's all I got. Like, I don't know what happened. So, man, kudos to you guys.
That's huge. No, I think those two pieces that you guys hit on, and then we can hop into a question from Will. You guys mentioned the collaboration, and John, you didn't mention it directly, but the abundance mentality. So thinking of scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset, when John mentioned he was quite literally jealous of Justin's audience and content, you have two ways to approach that situation. You can go the negative route and try and steal their followers and never like their posts or talk shit on their whatever, I don't know. Or you can collaborate, figure out they found a sweet spot, they found great ways to resonate. Now we've got this dynamic energy that never would have existed before. So look for those opportunities of collaboration or support. Just like Justin was just mentioning, I know coming from the music environment, when you're producing a song for a pop star, that is an adventure of so many people in the loop. Obviously all the attention and all the glory goes to the talent that steps in front of the mic, but everything that goes on behind the scenes, the recording engineer, the mixing engineers, the mastering engineers, everybody else that's in that mix, that's what brings all of that together. So anybody here that's in the chat still, thank you everybody that's staying in here for a bonus overtime round. If you're in that if you're having that moment where you feel like you need to create something, but you don't have that avenue or that outlet, connect with us. Subscribe to this channel, connect with everybody in the chat, connect with everybody on the channel. We're here to support you and get that content creation going. So speaking of content creation, Will's had a question. How do you guys approach your own content creation? Is it pure inspiration, or do you focus on specific topics? How do you guys come up with new, fresh content ideas? Because it seems like you guys tend to have a lot of them.
I live on the LinkedIn feed, and again, similar to Gary Vee in my own comments. So let's say that you don't have the highest level of engagement, so you can't count on your comments to tell you what to post. Pay attention to what's popular in the LinkedIn feed. What are people talking about? What are people's pain points? What are they having challenges with? I recognize the fact that, and sometimes it's just through conversations. I was talking to Justin last week about how posting every day is very challenging, very draining. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, this would be a great topic to dive more into. And a lot of it comes down to confidence. Anytime that it seems like the posts that perform the best are the ones that are opposing views of what is norm. So you will have that chat. It does take courage to kind of go against the wave, but I find that they tend to be more successful. So when it comes to that, just pay attention to what's going on in the LinkedIn feed. What are people talking about? What do people not like, right? Because right now, let's say the COVID-19 and working from home posts are very popular, but it's oversaturated. So if it were me and I was thinking about creating a piece of content, the first thing that I would do is, okay, well, let me go against the grain. Let me talk about how I'm tired of people talking about COVID-19 and just see how it performs. It'd be an interesting way of looking at it.
Excellent.
And Will, looking at the aspect of pop culture, if something's being talked about on a wide scale like COVID-19, pop culture is the same thing. That's why Justin Exotic, it worked. It's the most popular documentary in television history. So the minute someone put it on LinkedIn, which never talks about Tiger King, I think that's why I did so well the first couple times. Is because wow, someone talked about this. So from that, I talked, and Jonathan nailed it perfectly. Look at your LinkedIn feed. If you talk about that something that automatically relates to that person, they're buying in. If someone has a conversation about the Dallas Cowboys winning another Super Bowl for number 6, this might I add, or just like everybody else in America, oh, the Cowboys suck. They haven't won a Super Bowl since 1982, blah, blah, all this other stuff that you hear. But that dynamic of subject, Cowboys, makes the people, since they're polarizing, talk about it. Love them or hate them, you still talk about them. Gary Vee, that's polarizing. So LinkedIn feed, here we are. We talked about the people, the subscribe, blow up your feed post. Every single person that's been on LinkedIn has seen that post. So now we automatically have affiliation with that subject. So I think if you keep your content centered around that, either good or bad, as long as you keep it centered around it, I think it gives you the ability to just create content that's relevant.
Huge.
A big piece of advice. This is one of my secrets. When you're developing a piece of content, a lot of people will put themselves as the hero of the post or the hero of the story, right? So when they're developing a piece of content, it's about them. It's about congratulations to me that I have 20,000 new connections. Congratulations to me. Here's my hashtag that I want you to follow. A lot of what I've seen lately is very self-congratulatory. Yep. And I think there's value in that. But at the same time, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, and this is with every post, and something you should consider is when you're looking at a post and when you publish it, ask yourself, what would I, as somebody on the outside, comment to this? Okay, congratulations, you have 20,000 connections. What would somebody respond to that? What would you be looking for in terms of a response to that? Congratulations? One word? Like, that is not something that people are that's not memorable. Okay, you have 20,000 connections. Congratulations. That's the end. The end. Nothing to gain, right? But if you turn yourself into kind of like what I follow is I think it's Joe Campbell, The Hero's Journey. Mm-hmm. It's a popular book. A lot of I believe Lord of the Rings, the story of Jesus Christ. All these kind of follow a similar narrative, and it is the hero's journey. So the idea is that you need to make your connections, your followers, your clients, the hero of that journey. And then you're just the wise sage providing them with advice on their journey. So when you leverage it that way, and you bring value to people and you help them on your journey, you realize it's not about you. And it's funny because more people follow you as a result.
Now, JP, you're on IG. You're an Instagram guy. And do you look at the self-loathing post or the post that, hey, I have 20,000, I did this, look at me, how awesome is this? Are those the thirsty girls on Instagram doing the cleavage shot? Even on LinkedIn. I see you too on LinkedIn. Don't even play, girls. I see you girls on LinkedIn because I see your live videos. You look nothing like your pictures. But anyways, but the guys on Instagram or the girls on Instagram barely having any clothes on, but they put that on there because it gets 30,000 because they're thirsty. I feel like those posts on LinkedIn are the exact same thing. It's an easy way of getting engagement, the cheesy engagement, like, oh, I feel bad for these guys, so now I'm going to say congratulations to them because I want to comment on them so they can at least see me feeling good about what they're feeling good about. So I feel like that's just a thirst trap. Just they're wanting to be, it's an easy way. When I say, I knew when I talked about my brain tumor, it was going to get engagement. I just knew it was going to get engagement. Why? Oh, look at him. He's down. He's out. Like, same thing on there. I could post about the brain tumor every single day in some facet and get engagement from different people every single day. Same thing with these well done posts. Look, hey, I just made my first $1 million sit in the bank. Woo-hoo. People are going to say congratulations. You almost feel obligated that you have to say congratulations. But like Jonathan said, is that the engagement you're really looking for? Because those people really don't care. Congrats. I took exactly 0.2 of a second of my life to tell you congrats, but now people see me on LinkedIn. That's the way I feel. It's like an Instagram model going for the thirst engagement.
Sounds like algorithm abuse.
It's like it's like when you're playing a video game or you're watching a movie and you're viewing it through the lens of the character, you know, and you're on their journey. It's all about being able to step inside the shoes of your customer or your follower, your connection. So it could be about your struggle. You know, think about like the movie Rocky. You know, like we've all been in a scenario where we have to get back up. Where we have to keep fighting. You get hit, you get back up. You know, that's something that's very relatable. But it's all about the way that you frame it. Because if it's all about you, if it's about your experience, then it kind of pulls people out. But if you make it so it's like, hey, listen, I know exactly how you feel because I've been there too. You've been there. We have this to connect with. It's a completely different experience. So you could still use like the cancer story. You could still use congratulations. You know, I have 30,000 followers, but the context of it has to be framed in a way where it's like, okay, how can I connect it so that people step into my shoes as I'm explaining this?
You should have saved that for a money call. Like that's.
I want to know.
You gave away too much.
How many pieces of micro content do we have from this episode?
Tons. Yeah, tons. JP just nailed it. Yeah, Will, to sum up the answer to that question and to everybody else, content creation is about deep empathy. It's deep empathy. Flip the script, and obviously you want to insert yourself into that situation, like bring that authenticity and that personality to the table still. That's the huge value of these guys. But flip the script and find that angle that you can use. So I know in my context for my content creation, I just combine two things. I do applicable business lessons and some type of personal subject like attached to me, whether it's World of Warcraft or hockey, music. Like I don't care how nerdy it is or how niche it might be. If you can flip that into positive lessons, that's where you can kind of get that double dip of it's valuable to somebody and you're showing a little bit of your personal authenticity that people resonate with. Matt Wells says, are you guys wearing pants? I did throw on some pants just in case had to run out for an emergency. So we do have pants on. I can't speak for the others on board, but
what is the definition of pants? What are we talking here? Because
that's on PayPal. I'll let you know.
Well, we got the Sutton and Grove crew in here. Boy, the Cowboys do suck. Great, excellent commentary here in the chat. I don't know if that was Luke or Jill, but one of them's over there getting spicy. Appreciate the commentary. 100% agree. Let's go with Ahmad. Jonathan, how long does it take you to make a video? That's a question from Ahmad.
I probably get this question 20, 30 times a day.
So here's your micro content clip.
Yeah. I would say, like on average, between 2 hours, 2.5 hours, around there, depending on the complexity of the video, depending on how I'm feeling about it. The comedy bits take longer because it's more, it's more broken up. But there's a lot of great options. There's a lot of people that, like on Upwork and Fiverr that can produce videos for relatively cheap and do them very well. I'm just very very specific. I know exactly what I want out of my videos, so I wouldn't let anybody else touch them. But due to that, time it's a huge time waster. But I love doing it, so I don't mind.
Guys, he's not kidding. He won't let me edit the videos we're both.
I will not.
He won't let me do it.
I gotta control.
I believe it.
My personal thing, yeah.
Oh, excellent. Well, if anybody else in the chat that has, oh my God, we still got a full house, wants to drop any last questions, I think we're going to start wrapping up here. We are well into the bonus round, 20 minutes into the bonus round here.
Hey, Travis,
it's been great so far.
Make sure they know next week we're going to talk about sex, politics, and religion all in the same show. We're going to hit it hard.
Whatever fills the room, man. Whatever fills the room.
Yeah, we're calling it how to get perma-banned from LinkedIn.
But hey, I have my LinkedIn feed right now. Like I have. Do you have you guys yours pulled up? Like I have my LinkedIn pulled up. I scrolled 5 scrolls. 3
5 scrolls.
No, just five posts. 3 out of 5 were blow up your network.
See, this is where I'll bring in the counterpoint to network curation. So I've been, for the last month and a half, focusing entirely on getting a super tight, like curated, clean network. And I'm seeing less and less and less and less of those over time. So there is hope if you can pull out of, obviously you have to stop liking them and commenting on them. That was my problem. I think I got banned from some of the Fit Team guys because I kept putting gifs.
I still have them as connections. Y'all both stop because y'all are both banned. So y'all stop. I'm trying to keep at least one of those guys.
No, I think I got blocked by the Fit Team. I kept putting the I Am Legend gif of Will Smith. He's like, no, and runs away.
Travis is funny. Like, also, if he sees like fake engagement, like in the comments, he'll call people out. I saw him the other day.
Also, thank you for the spam.
Yeah.
This guy's like the Instagram. I mean, the LinkedIn police over here. You know,
funny. I'm happy for it. You know, I want to do a Milli Vanilli LinkedIn post. Like, who are the Milli Vanillis of LinkedIn? Don't have to necessarily call them out, but wouldn't it be fun just to broach that subject? Because we're talking about comparison earlier. The comparison of, hey, buddy. Talking about the comparison of seeing fake people on there and people buying into those people. So I think it ties in perfect. Who are the fake people, the Milli Vanillis of LinkedIn?
Sugar barked in the car.
Okay. I just found out my dog barked in the car. That's fantastic.
We got donuts.
And we got donuts.
Nice. Gift strategy is wonderful from Sutton and Grove. Thank you, Luke. Steven in here, Greg in here as well. Greg is saying video is overblown. Interesting. What do you guys think of video strategy being overblown, John?
Video strategy being overblown. Who is this?
Looks like Greg Walters is stirring things up a little. But I have heard everybody saying video.
So
I think you've never watched my videos before. That's why you think that.
Oh, wrong videos. Wrong. You've been watching the wrong videos, Greg.
No, but honestly, okay. Here's my opinion on it. Is he right? Are videos overblown? Yes. In terms of the algorithm, I mean, we've spoken with LinkedIn directly, and they are. It appears that the slides are the highest performing right now. Text posts still get the most reach, and videos are kind of like a third. But here's the thing. In terms of generating leads and revenue, I have found that video is far more effective because it's a lot easier to develop trust, build that relationship with people when they can see your face. When you can't see the person's face and it's a text post and they have that little teeny profile photo, which may or may not be fake, just ask yourself, are you willing to invest thousands of dollars into a person you've never seen before? It's up to you. For me, I found that it's a lot more effective when people can see me, when people can see the way that I'm expressing my message. And it just generates more leads. So yeah, you're probably right. You know, it's not as effective on the algorithm. Congratulations, but I'm making more money. So there you go.
I think that makes sense. If it's really context, like you can do video awful, you can do video great. But really having all of those pieces tied together. So maybe not going all in 100% on video. That way you have a little bit of mix of, I think that's where I'm ultimately going to land. Yeah.
Something to consider. When you do a video, people forget that you have the body of the post that you can still do text. So you're really hitting it from every direction. You're not limited. It's not just video. You have all of those characters that anybody with a text post would also have. So anybody that says, okay, well, you know, it's just one way or the other way. No, we're actually benefiting from both.
It's very true. Yeah, they give you plenty of room for that text post. That is true. On top of those videos, so it looks like the balance is for sure in finding what works for your content style, your frequency, and obviously the audience is going to be the biggest piece of that. But video's still alive. Great question, Greg, to stir things up. But I think we'll definitely be seeing plenty more video. It's just more about doing it right rather than just saying I need to do video because Gary Vee yelled at me and said I need to. So be mindful of everything. Seeing if there's any more questions came in here. Oh, from Luke. Do you guys have any posts you regret sharing? Any throughout your LinkedIn histories thus far that would fall into the regret category?
Regret, no. But I think it just shows, I leave all my posts on there. And I think it shows how far you've came. Because people can say, oh, look how polished this guy is. He's been, I'm not at that point. And if you go back even 2 months ago, you're like, oh, holy crap. Whoa. But I think it shows people realness because, once again, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse. Comparison. We keep wanting to say we want to be that guy the very first day we start doing video. But we can't just be that guy without repetition. You can't just have muscles without going to the gym. It does not work. And so doing these videos, doing these things, I like to leave it up there because I have a post that goes 5,000 views, 1,000 views, 15,000 views, 700 views. Well, what happened? So I don't know about regret. Do I have this sense of ego hit? Yeah, I do have an ego hit, but I stay away from any stuff that could be considered like dividing. I don't mind disagreeing with people, but I stay away from any of the controversial stuff. If that's what he means by regret anything. But leaving posts on there, it's an ego hit sometimes. But I don't think I regret anything. I think it's just more of a learning lesson.
For me, it was because I was, I've shared it before, but I was bullied a lot as a kid. And one of the benefits of being bullied a lot, and I was a terrible student. I disappointed my parents, and everybody just gave me a hard time. One of the benefits is once you get all of that negative attention when you're young, as an adult, like nothing affects you. So it's just, I look at my content as art. But the thing is that I will never, ever watch one of my videos again. After I post it, I've never gone back to the video because I will critique it to death. I will find every mistake in it, but I don't regret any of it because I don't care. Like it's about my expression. It's my art form, and so no regrets, but high levels of judgment. So
that's huge. No, that's definitely huge. I think I fall in the similar category, except for the piece of never watching it or never listening like again. That's a huge element. I'd be curious to experiment with. But in recent years, not many regrets.
Let's stop in a second, but I do want to answer this question that I just saw from Greg about the trolls and if we have any enemies. And one thing that I will say, and I found it really interesting, is I don't know, Justin, tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like women on LinkedIn get a lot more criticism than men do. Like 99.9% of my comments and connections, overwhelmingly positive. But then, like, if I go on Shay's post, like, there's a lot more people criticizing, judging, and I've touched on a lot of similar subjects that she has, maybe to not to the extent. But I feel like there might be a little bit of a difference between male and female. And I find that guys, nobody really has a negative word to say. So what do you think, Justin?
I agree. I mean, it's weird. I mean, you get the woman factor on both the positive engagement and the negative engagement. But from a guy's standpoint, like, you figure like the clown post. When someone literally emailed me and said, "You're a clown, no one will ever take you seriously." You're
a literal clown.
I love that you just went all in.
But he gave me he gave me an idea for content. But B, I don't see that, like, the women, I don't see that often. Like, as much stuff as we talk about, even the Justin Exotic, I got one message saying, "I don't understand it, but it was a great marketing piece." But if a girl posted something that's stupid, I've seen it. They get hate, like, from both women and men. So it's just, I think you're right on. Like, I don't think the guys get as much criticism as the ladies do. It's just, I don't get it. And and we post controversial stuff. I mean, holy crap, you did cocaine in my video the other day. and
empathy and happiness.
yes,
Empathy powder.
yes. But my either way, I didn't get any negative feedback for that.
All right, guys, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stretched the full hour. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate all this. We'll definitely be doing more of this. We will get your guys' feedback and get this going on a recurring basis. Sub to the channel. You'll see future posts when they go live. We'll also do a promotion on this. But I got to wrap this up as well. Thank you both. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Connect with all of us. Connect with everybody else. Sub, do all the fun things. Hit us up if you need any help in the realm of content creation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Victor, for running the show, man.
You want to learn more about, send a message to Travis, and we will discuss it next week.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Next week at this time, right? Next week, this time, this channel.
Yeah. Okay, if this works, we'll keep it rolling, guys. Thank you for your support.